Hello friends, I am Dr. P. K. Paul. Welcome to my channel. Let's think about life differently and change it. So friends, the book I will read today is called The Magic of Thinking Big. Before starting today's video, I inform you that the link of other chapters of this book will be given at description. You can view them from there. So let's begin. How to think like a guide. Remind yourself one more time that you cannot be dragged to the level of success. It is the people beside and below you who will push you. Large-scale success requires the support and cooperation of others, and to obtain this support and cooperation requires leadership skills. Success and the ability to lead, that is, the ability to do things that others would never do without leading the way, are complementary. The strategies for success explained in previous chapters are valuable components in developing your leadership skills. Now we want to master 4 special leadership rules or methods by which people will work for us in the executive suite, business, social club, home, everywhere. These 4 rules or principles of leadership are: 1. Think like the people you want to influence. 2. Think about it, what is the humane way to handle the work? 3. Think progress, believe in progress, move forward. 4. Set aside time to talk to yourself. Following these rules will reap benefits. Applying them to everyday situations will make demystifying the golden word of leadership easier. Let's see how. Leadership rule no. 1. You want to influence the people you want to influence. Think like this. If you want to manipulate others, friends, partners, customers, employees, as you wish, the magic trick is to think like them. If we study these 2 cases, the reason can understand. Ted B. worked as a television copywriter and director for a large advertising agency. Once his agency landed a big deal, a children's shoe manufacturer, Ted was tasked with producing several TV commercials for them. A month after the start of the advertising campaign, it was found that the advertising had no effect on increasing the sales of the product in retail stores. As most of the cities were advertised only through television, special attention was paid to TV advertisements. A survey of television viewers found that only 4% of viewers thought the ad was exceptionally good. One of the best ads ever, said 4%. The remaining 96% either had no reaction to the ad or found it awkward. My kids love to watch commercials on TV, but every time those shoe commercials come on, they go to the bathroom or get up to get things out of the fridge. After analyzing all the interviews together, one interesting thing emerged. The 4% who liked the ad had income, education, tastes and hobbies, likes and dislikes like Ted. The remaining 96%, however, belonged to completely different, socioeconomic groups. Ted's ads cost about $20,000, but the entire campaign failed, as Ted only thought about his dislikes. When he was creating advertisements, he didn't try to understand people's thinking about buying shoes, but only thought about his own preferences. He made ads that he personally found attractive. He didn't make ads that people liked. If Ted had thought like most people, he would have asked himself 2 questions. If I were a parent, what ad would make me want to buy shoes for my children? If I were a child or a little boy, what kind of advertisement would I like so much that I would go to my parents and ask for shoes? Maybe the outcome would have been different. Why Joan failed in retail? Joan is an intelligent, well-educated, attractive girl, aged 24, fresh graduate. John is a buyer of ready-made clothing in a medium and low-priced department store. Got the assistant job. His letter of recommendation was enthusiastically praised. John is ambitious, talented, driven. It was written in a letter and he is sure to achieve great success in life. But John didn't get that huge success. After only 8 months of work, John left the sales job and joined another job. I knew the person above him well. One day I asked him what is the reason for the failure of the zone. Joan is a very good girl, quite a virtuous girl, he said, but there was one fault. What is that? I asked the question. John always bought things he liked, which our customers didn't like at all. He always chose the style, color, fabric and price of the products that he liked, regardless of the preferences of the people who came here to market. That this kind of thing might not be suitable for us, he would say, oh. You will see that I feel so good that everything will be sold. John grew up in an affluent family. He was taught that the quality of things was the most important thing. Price was of no importance to him. A lower middle class family didn't think of clothes that John wanted. So what he bought would be completely inappropriate. The point is, if you want others to do things your way, see them from their point of view. Thinking like others will also make it easier to influence them. A successful salesman friend of mine said to consider in detail what the potential buyer's reaction might be before presenting a presentation. If you can think like a buyer, the speaker's speech becomes more interesting and powerful. A supervisor can give more acceptable and effective instructions if he thinks like an employer. A young credit executive explained the effectiveness of this approach beautifully. When I started working at this store, a medium-sized clothing store, as an assistant credit manager, I was assigned collection correspondence. I was dismayed by the letters the store sent. All harsh, insulting and even threatening letters. Read on. I thought, if someone had given me such a letter, I would have gone mad. I wouldn't give money anyway. So I took my pen and sat down to write a letter that I would gladly pay off all my debts if I read it. And it worked. Thinking like those whose bills were not paid led to a record amount of money raised. How many entrants to politics lose elections because they do not want to understand the mind of the voters? A politician running for state office, despite being equally qualified as his opponent, lost miserably because of only one reason. The language he used was understood by only a few of the voters. But his rival understood the interest of the voters. He spoke in their language while talking to the farmers, factory workers. He spoke with them in their familiar language. Again, when he came on TV, Mr. Chirchena spoke in the language of the common voter, not in the language of a college professor. Always remember the question, what would I do if I were in someone else's place? It can work successfully. A good rule of thumb is to keep in mind the interests, likes and dislikes of those we want to influence in any given situation. A few years ago a small electronics manufacturer invented a fuse that would never melt. The manufacturer decided to sell the product for $1.25 and hired an advertising agency to market the product. This time, Mr. Accountant Executive, who was given the responsibility of advertising, immediately became very enthusiastic. His plan was to promote the product throughout the country through TV, radio, newspapers. He said, "That's what I want. 10 million will be sold in the first year." But his advisors warned him that fuses were not a popular product. People bought what was cheap when they bought fuses. Don't advertise in a select few magazines. Quote, their advice was completely ignored and a massive publicity campaign was launched which had to be cancelled after only 6 weeks with disappointing results. The problem was, advertising executive gentlemen are expensive. Fuster made the assessment through the eyes of people in the $75,000 income bracket. The larger market, i.e. people in the $19,000 to $15,000 a year income bracket, was completely ignored. If the gentleman had examined the attitude of the former, he might have thought it expedient to make advertisements for the upper income class. It would have been profitable. Think like the people you want to influence. The exercises given below may be helpful. Practice thinking like others. Situation. For best results, ask yourself. 1. To give instructions to work. Was it clear enough to explain the task to someone completely new? 2. Advertising writing. If I were a buyer, how would I react to an ad like this? 3. Talking on the phone. What would I think if I were on the other end hearing my voice and behavior? 4. Gift. Would I listen to someone who speaks to me as I dictate? The two are vastly different. 5. As I order. 6. Discipline children or young children. If I were that child, considering his age, experience, and feelings, how would I feel to be disciplined like this? 7. My face. How would I feel if my superiors dressed like me? 8. Making speech. What is the response to such a speech or comment given the environment and situation of the listener, his likes and dislikes? 9. Hospitality. What kind of food, music, and entertainment would I like if I were my own guest? Activate the mind by thinking like others. 1. Consider other people's situations. Put yourself in his place and think. Remember that his likes and dislikes, intellectual considerations, income and surroundings are probably completely different from yours. 2. Now ask yourself, how would I react if I were in his place? Whatever you expect from him. 3. Then do what you would do if you were someone else. Leadership rule number 2. Think, what is the humane, compassionate way to do the job? People take different paths in leadership situations. One way is to be sovereign. This sovereign takes all decisions alone without consulting others. He does not want to know the opinion of his subordinates, because, perhaps in his heart, he fears that the subordinates are speaking unfairly and will lose his respect as a result. These monopolies do not last long. For a while the workers showed hypocritical loyalty, but soon protests broke out. The best workers leave the job, those who remain start plotting against the tyrant. So the organization cannot function properly. As a result, the ruler proved a failure to his superiors. The second leadership style is the cold, mechanistic, irregulatory, activist approach. These practitioners literally work by the rule book. He does not understand that every rule or method is only a guide for general cases. These would-be leaders think of people as machines. And one of the things that people hate the most is being treated like a machine. Attempting to achieve mastery in a cold, dispassionate manner is not the right approach. The machines that work under the ruler do not exert themselves to their full potential. Those who can lead best are those with a third orientation, i.e. people with a humanistic sense. Many years ago my John S. He was an executive in the engineering department of a large aluminum producer. John became adept at following the humanist path and enjoyed its benefits. In small ways, John communicated through his actions, "You are a human being. I respect you. I am ready to help you in any way I can." When one from another town joined his department, John was very helpful in finding him suitable accommodation despite his own personal difficulties. With the help of his secretary and 2 female workers, he organizes office parties on the birthdays of every employee in the office. 30 minutes was not a waste of time to organize the small dinner meeting, but an investment in increasing employee loyalty and performance. When he found out that one of his employees belonged to a religious minority, John immediately called him and told him to arrange a separate holiday for him on his religious festival, unlike the well-known religious festival. John never forgot when one of his employees or their family fell ill. John did not forget to congratulate his employees on achievements other than routine office work. The most striking evidence of John's humanistic philosophy of life was found in his dismissal from a single job. John's previous executive employed an employee who had no interest or enthusiasm for the job. John found an excellent solution to the problem. John did not go the usual route of calling the employee first with the bad news and then issuing an order to vacate the office in 15 or 30 days. He did two strange things. First, he called the employee and made him understand that if he takes new tasks according to his choice and desire, he himself will benefit and become employable. Discussed with the employee and sent him to a well-known academic guide and advisor. The second task was completely outside his scope of responsibility. He also arranged new jobs for the ex-employee by arranging interviews with executives at companies that could utilize the ex-employee's skills. Within 18 days of being fired, the employee was placed in a prospective position. Surprised at the strange dismissal, I asked John why. John explained, "I remember an old proverb," he said, "to be under someone's power is to be under his protection. As the man was unfit for our work, we ought not to have employed him. But since we had made a mistake, we reinstated him. It is also our responsibility to do." John added, "Anyone can hire anyone. The real evidence of leadership is in firing. Helping to find a new job for that employee before they leave us creates a sense of security among everyone in our department." By their example, explained that as long as I am there, no one should stand in the way. Make no mistake, the results of John's humanity were admirable. John was not censured in secret. He received full loyalty and support. As he gave the greatest security to the work of his subordinates, he also received full security in his work. About 15 years ago today, I named a close acquaintance Bob W. Bob is in his mid-50s. Grown up hard. Did not get the opportunity of special education, had to face financial difficulties. He lost his job in 1931. But Bob is always invincible. Not being lazy, Bob opened a furniture store in his garage. And with tireless work, the business has grown to become a state-of-the-art furniture manufacturing company with over 300 employees. Bob is a millionaire today. No more worries about money and material things. Now Bob is rich, wealthy in every way. He is rich in friends, complacency and contentment. One of Bob's many qualities is his willingness to help others. Bob has a sense of humanity, making him an expert at treating people as humanely as they expect. One day Bob was talking about criticizing others. The humanistic Bob's formula is novel. In his words, "I think there is no one who is willing to call himself weak and incapable. I do business. If I see a mistake, correct it. But how to do it is very important. I am alert when employees make mistakes, not wanting to hurt them. I want to convince them in such a way that they do not feel inferior and humiliated. I follow 4 simple steps. First, I talk to them separately. Second, appreciate a job well done. Third, I explain the work that can be done better at that moment and also help to find out how to correct it. Fourth, praise again for good deeds. These 4 approaches have been very productive. Others are happy to be understood in this way, because they want to be understood in this way. When they leave the office, they realize that they are not only good, but can be better. Having gambled with people all my life, Bob says, I saw a worker come to work drunk. In no time the plant was in a frenzy. This employee was picking up a 5-gallon can of varnish and scattering it everywhere. The superintendent let him out after the rest of the staff took the can from him. I went outside and found him leaning against the building like a dazed man. I picked him up in my car and drove him home. His wife was furious. I told him there was nothing to worry about. Oh, you probably don't know, said his wife. Mr. W, meaning me, does not tolerate drunkenness at work. The gym job is gone, what should I do now? I explained to him that Jim's job was gone. He demanded, how did I know? I was forced to say, I am Mr. W. He almost fainted and what? I told him to help Jim as much as I could and expect him to cooperate fully at home. In the morning Jim was told to go to work. I went back to the plant, went to Jim's department, talked to his co-workers. I told them, it's a bit awkward today. But I hope you guys forget about it, Jim's coming to work tomorrow. Be nice to him. He's a long-time employee, I think. He should be given another chance. Jim went back to work, and never had a problem with his drinking. I completely forgot about it. But Jim didn't. 2 years ago, some people were sent from the local union headquarters. They came to negotiate the local union contract. Some of their demands were complete. Unfair. Jim, our quiet Jim, suddenly became the leader. He quickly convinced the union representatives that the workers got what they deserved from Mr. W and that there was no need for outsiders to dictate our business. We were able to sit together as friends and work out a compromise deal after the outsiders left for the gym that day. Humanity, in making yourself a better guide. Let me tell you 2 ways to wake up. When a people first problem arises, ask yourself, what is the humane, compassionate way to resolve this? Consider the question when disagreements arise between subordinates or when an employee causes problems. Remember Bob Delu's formula for correcting the mistakes of others. Don't taunt. Don't be sarcastic or hateful. Don't insult others. Don't put them down in any way. Ask how to be kind to others. You will always get benefit, sometimes sooner, sometimes or a little later you will surely get benefit. A second way to benefit from humanity is to express in your actions the importance you give to others. Praise those below you for accomplishments other than their job duties. Give due respect to everyone. Remember that the main purpose of life is to enjoy life. As a general rule, the more interested you become in others, the more interested and active they will be in you. Praise your subordinates to your superiors whenever you get the chance. It's a well-known old tradition in America. The little man who stands next to him becomes admired in everyone's eyes. Your favorable promotion will make subordinates happy. Their loyalty to you will increase. Don't become unimportant. Rather, the self-assurance that manifests in the large, noble, and humble person is actually insecure, rather than the one who tries to assert his accomplishments over and over again. A little modesty pays off big. Praise subordinates personally whenever possible. Appreciate their cooperation. Praise them for every extra effort. Appreciation is the best motivator, but you pocket for it. It costs nothing. Moreover, many Marathi candidates were disqualified in polls. Only your subordinates can stand up for you. Practice appreciating others. Be kind to others. Be kind. Leadership rule number 3. Think of progress, believe in improvement, move forward in development. A truly complimentary comment is, he's a progressive, a man of work. In all cases, those who believe in progress, who are advancing in the path of progress, are promoted. True guides are rare in number. There are more people who believe in the status quo, good enough is going, what does something need to be done, than the progressive, there's more room for improvement, let's try a little more personality. Join the best leaders. Bring a positive attitude. There are two particular ways of bringing about a progressive attitude. 1. Try to improve in everything you do. 2. May every work you do be of high quality. Several months ago, the president of a medium-sized company asked for my help in making an important decision. This gentleman built the business on his own and handled the duties of sales manager himself. Now that he had 7 salesmen on staff, he thought of nominating one of them to the position of sales manager. He selected 3 employees of equal experience and sales expertise. My job was to spend a day at work with each of them and prepare a report to select the best person to lead. Each of them was told that a consultant would meet with him to discuss the entire marketing program. For obvious reasons, my real intention was not communicated. The reactions of the 2 were almost identical. Both felt uncomfortable in my presence. They probably thought I had gone for a change. Both of them were quick to maintain the status quo. Both were satisfied with the way things were going. I asked questions about various aspects of marketing, how territories are divided, compensation programs, product sales, growth factors. All I got was the same response: everything is fine. The 2 of them explained in detail why it cannot be changed or why it should not be done. In general, both of them did not want any change in the current situation. One of them came to take me to the hotel. He said, "I don't know you, why don't you go there and tell Mr. MK that everything is going well?" But the third man was completely different. He was happy and proud of his company's work. But he was not completely satisfied. He wanted to improve. Throughout the day, this new salesman gave me ideas on how to attract new business, provide more customer service, reduce time wastage, revise the compensation plan to motivate employees, so that he and his company could make more profit. He thought of a new campaign. I saw his plan. "It's great to share my ideas. Our organization is good, but there is room for improvement," he said as he departed. Obviously, I ruled in favor of this third person. It turned out that my opinion was completely similar to the opinion of the company president. Expect expansion, efficiency, new products, new methods, better learning opportunities, more prosperity. Trust in progress, move forward, you'll find yourself leading the way. As a child, I saw how differences in the thinking of 2 leaders can make a difference in the performance of followers. I studied elementary in a rural school, 8 grades, only 1 teacher and 40 students huddled together within 4 walls. Finding a new teacher is great fun. Led by the older students, the 7th and 8th grade boys, the rest of the students were constantly finding new ways to mischief. Once it was a bit excessive. Every day there were about a dozen incidents of mischief. Like throwing things, paper plane battles. Then there would be major incidents like the door being locked, the teacher being out of school for half a day, or sometimes or vice versa, i.e. she was locked up in the school premises for hours. One day a high-class boy came to class with a dog. Let's say one thing, but these children were without sense of duty. No, they did not intend to commit theft, physical abuse, or knowingly harm anyone. Growing up in the austere conditions of rural life, healthy youths needed a source of expression for their endless vitality and innovative skills. However, that teacher somehow survived a year at our school. No one was surprised when another new teacher appeared in September. This new teacher succeeded in getting the opposite reaction from the students. He was able to touch the self-esteem and self-esteem of small children. He instilled in them the power of consideration. Each student was assigned a specific task, such as clearing the blackboard or cleaning the erasers or practicing marking the papers of the lower grade students. The new teacher came up with new creative ways of harnessing the unbridled enthusiasm, energy that had been wasted and misapplied until a few months ago. The main focus of his curriculum was character building. Why did the little children act like bandits one year but became calm the next year? The reason for the difference was the leadership, the influence of the teacher. To be honest, you can't blame the little kids for the mischief they've been having all year. Every year the teacher led the way. The former may not have felt the need to concern himself with what these little children were doing in the depths of his heart. He had no purpose in front of them. Or didn't notice. Did not motivate them. He could not control his anger. He didn't want to teach the little children anything, so they didn't learn either. The second teacher had advanced thinking, constructive attitude. He really loved little children. He wanted to do something with them. He treated everyone as a different person. Since he used to follow discipline in every work, he easily got discipline from others. In each case the students followed in the guru's footsteps. A similar control is seen daily in adults. Military chiefs in World War II often observed that morale were low in units whose commanders were relaxed, and depressed. Units with high-quality officers who applied army regulations fairly and accurately were the most active units. Low-ranking officers are not respected at all in the army. College students learn from their professors. A professor's students may skip classes, cheat on tests, and try to pass without studying properly. But those same students study another professor's subject with great concentration. In business too, seeing superiors affects the thinking of others. Observe a group of employees closely, see their habits, behavior, attitude towards the company, sense of ethics and self-control. Now if you compare their behavior with the behavior of their superiors, you will find a strange similarity. Institutions that have become sluggish and declining are restructured every year. How? Some top executives were removed for this. Companies, colleges, churches, clubs, unions and other types of organizations can only be successfully reformed if they are reformed from the top down, not from the bottom up. A change in the thinking of those at the top is bound to change the thinking of the people below. Remember, when a group is led, everyone in that group immediately adheres to the standard of work that is set before them. This is especially evident in the first few weeks. Their main concern is that they want to get to know you, observe you thoroughly and know what you expect from them. They track your every move. How much do they think this guy will indulge me? How do you want to get to work? What makes you happy? What will you say if you do something like this? After knowing this, they act accordingly. Take a good look at the examples you are presenting. Use this old but apt poem as a guide. What kind of world would this world be if everyone here was like me? Test yourself by using the word company instead of the word world to make sense of this poem. What kind of company would this company be if everyone here was like me? Similarly, think how it would be if everyone in the club, society, church were like you. Become the way you expect your subordinates to think, talk, act, live, then they will become the same. After some time, subordinates follow their superiors. The easiest way to get the best work is to set an example that is truly imitable. Am I a progressive thinker? Checklist. A. Am I progressive in my work? 1. Do I have a how to improve attitude in my work? 2. Do I praise the company, its employees and its products every chance I get? 3. Has my personal quality improved today compared to the quality and quantity of my work 3 to 6 months ago? 4. Am I setting a good example for my subordinates, peers and colleagues? B. Do I have a progressive attitude towards my family? 1. Is my family happier today than it was 3 to 6 months ago? 2. Am I following any plan to improve the quality of my family? 3. Does my family have opportunities for stimulating activities outside the confines of the home? 4. I am an example of progressive to my children. What is progressive? C. Do I have a progressive attitude towards myself? 1. Honestly, has my utility increased now compared to the last 3 to 6 months? 2. Do I follow a structured self-improvement program to become more valuable in the eyes of others? Do you follow a self-improvement program? 3. Do I have any future goals in the next 5 years? 4. Can I increase effectiveness for organizations or groups I belong to? D. Am I progressive towards my society? 1. Have I done anything in the last 6 months, in the neighborhood, at church, at school, etc., that I have truly contributed to the betterment of my community? 2. Do I try to increase efficiency in necessary social projects? Or just object, condemn or complain? 3. Have I been a pioneer in making timely improvements in the community? 4. Do I appreciate my neighbors and fellow citizens? Leadership rule no. 4. Take some time to talk with yourself, harness your power of greater thinking. A leader usually means a very busy person. And so it is. Leaders should stand in the middle of the battle. But one thing that is usually overlooked is that these leaders spend quite a bit of time alone, when their only companion is their thoughts. Look at the biographies of the great men of different religions. You will see that each of them lived alone for some time. Moses spent most of his time alone. So is Jesus, Buddha, Confucius, Muhammad, Gandhiji. The greatest leaders of all history lived alone away from the hustle and bustle of life. Spent a lot of time with political leaders who, for whatever reason, good or bad, have left a lasting impression on the pages of history, have found depth of thought in solitude. Franklin, D. It is doubtful that Roosevelt would have developed his remarkable leadership skills at all if he had not been alone during his recovery from polio. Harry Truman spent much of his childhood and adulthood alone on a farm in Missouri. If Hitler had not spent several months alone in prison, he might not have become so powerful. It was while in this prison that he had the opportunity to write his masterpiece, the infamous Mein Kampf, which referred to the strategy of world conquest and of which the Germans had become blind admirers. A number of leaders skilled in the diplomacy of communism, Lenin, Stalin, Marx and many others spent some time in jail where they were able to sit and plan their future unhindered. At some of the best universities, professors are asked to lecture for only 5 hours a week, so that they get a chance to think. Many extraordinary business executives are surrounded all day by assistants, secretaries, phones and reports. But if you follow them for 168 hours a week, 720 hours a month, you will see that they spend quite a bit of time thinking uninterruptedly. The bottom line is, successful people in any field are with themselves. Keep it in hand while talking. In solitude, these leaders focus on understanding the whole problem, finding solutions, making plans and, in short, thinking brilliantly. Many will not realize the creativity of their leadership, because they do not want to know themselves, only interested in the opinion of others, any human being. You may know such people well. They always want crowds. They cannot live alone, so seek out crowds. They are never alone in any evening. As long as he is awake, he feels the urge to talk to someone. A lot of nonsense, chatter and gossip are the logistics of survival. When such a person is forced to live alone due to circumstances, he seeks a way out of the loneliness of his mind. In such a state he is busy with television, newspaper, radio, phone, anything that frees him from thinking. As a result, he says, Mr. TV, Mr. Newspapers control my mind. I am afraid to occupy my mind with my own thoughts. This Mr. I can't be alone, I don't want to think independently. He wants to block his mind. Mentally he is afraid of his own thoughts. With time this Mr. I can't be alone becomes a progressively shallower personality. The intellect acts without consideration. There is no firmness of purpose in their lives, no personal stability. Unfortunately he does not know about his inherent infinite power. Mr. Don't become I can't be alone, successful personality. Alone finds the source of their immense power. You can have it too. Let's see how to get it. As part of a professional development program, I once asked 13 apprentices to spend an hour alone each day for 2 weeks. These apprentices are asked to forget all distracting thoughts and think constructively on any matter of mind. After 2 weeks, with one exception, every student reported that they had benefited tremendously from the experience. One of them reported that before experiencing this well-managed solitude, his company had had a heated argument with another executive, but by thinking clearly he was able to find the root cause of the problem and come up with ways to correct it. The rest said that it helped them find solutions to various problems such as changing jobs, problems in married life, problems in buying a house, choosing a college for their teenage children. Every student in SOTSA reported that he had learned to understand himself better, to recognize his strengths and weaknesses, something he had never been able to do before. In addition, the apprentices learned another extremely important thing. They discovered that decisions made and things realized in well-controlled solitude are 100% accurate. Beginners discovered that the correct solution became obvious only when the fog cleared. Well-controlled solitude is beneficial. Recently, a colleague of mine completely changed his perspective on a complex problem. Since the problem was fundamental, I wanted to know why he made such a drastic change in himself. He replied, I had no clear idea of what to do. So I got up at 3:30 in the morning and sat with a cup of coffee until 7 in the morning and thought. Now the matter is very clear. Now I just need to change the way I work. His new work posture proved to be completely accurate. Commit now to spending some time a day, at least 30 minutes, just with yourself. Perhaps early morning, when no one is awake, is the best time for this. Or late at night. You need to choose a time when your mind is fresh, you are not distracted. At this time you can have two types of thinking, guided or indulgent. Revisit the problem before you in guided, well-directed thinking. A single mind will look at the problem from an unbiased perspective, allowing you to find the perfect solution. And don't let the mind choose any thought in the thought of happiness. In these moments your subconscious mind awakens your memory bank and feeds the conscious mind. This undirected thinking is very fruitful in self-analysis. It answers some basic questions. Goes like, how can this be done better? What can be done next? Remember, the main job of a leader is to think. So the best preparation for leadership is also thinking. Practice well-controlled solitude every day and motivate yourself with thoughts of success. Summary. For more effective leadership, apply these 4 principles of leadership. 1. Think like the people you want to influence. If you can think from their point of view, it will be easier to get them to do what you want. Before acting, ask yourself, what would I do about this if I were in his place? 2. Have a sense of humanity in dealing with others. Ask, what is the humane, compassionate way to do this? Give due priority to others in all tasks. Treat others the way you would expect yourself to be treated. You will be rewarded. 3. Think progress, believe in progress, move forward. Strive to improve in all things. All work should be of the best quality. After some time the subordinates became replicas of their officers. So make your work truly replicable. Make a personal resolution. I want to improve at home, at work, in society. 8. Talking to yourself and awakening your inner strength. Set aside time to pick up. Well-managed solitude pays off. Use it to unleash your creativity. Use it to solve personal and business problems. So, take some time to meditate alone every day. Discuss with yourself how to apply the magic of big thinking to life's most important situations. Big ideas have miraculous powers. But we easily forget that. When faced with a difficult situation, there is a danger of thinking narrowing. And if it does, you lose. Below are some pointers for becoming the big man in situations that threaten to be looked down upon. These instructions can be written on small cards and kept close at hand. A. When naysayers try to prove you a failure, think big. The truth is, there are people who want to lose you, want to see you suffer, want to scold you, They can never harm you if you remember 3 things. 1. Do not agree to quarrel with petty people. Ignore them, and you win. If you quarrel with insignificant people, you will also descend to their level. Stay big. 2. Don't be disappointed if someone criticizes you from behind. That sarcasm is proof of your becoming a big man. 3. Remember, people mocking you are mentally ill people. Grow up, be kind to them. Become so big that the attacks of petty people cannot touch you at all. B. When frustrated with the feeling of, not by me, think big. Remember, if you think you are weak, you will actually be helpless. If you think of yourself as a deprived second-class person, you will be. To overcome the tendency to deprive yourself, use these. 1. Make yourself important. In this you will learn the opinions of important personalities. Your outer appearance is closely related to your inner feelings. 2. Focus on your qualities. Learn to sell yourself to yourself, and apply it at work. Learn to keep yourself motivated. Learn to recognize your constructive optimist personality. 3. Consider the judgment of others in proper perspective. Others are only human, why be afraid of him? Think big to realize how good you are. C. If controversy or strife seems inevitable, think about it. Ways to avoid arguments or quarrels. 1. Asking yourself, honestly, is this something important to argue about? 2. Remind yourself, if you argue, you just lose, there is no gain. Think big. Quarrels, battles and troubles. D. If you feel defeated, think big. Great success is not achieved without suffering and social failure. But don't lose. You can spend the rest of your life. Mindful personality in small failures. Learn from them in educational lessons. Study go ahead with his help. Each collective has some lessons collected from obstacles. Perseverance is important, but it requires new experiments. Go back a little and try with new enthusiasm. Doctor. When the love is on its way to the end, there is still optimism. The depressing touch, he my per injustice, doing, now, my turn, attitude ends love. If there is a disturbance in the prem love lesson, do these. 1. See the best qualities of the one you want to be loved. Don't give precedence to tricha things secondary. Do something special for your partner, do often. Optimist. Think. Enjoy the happiness of married life. F. When you feel that your work has slowed down, it is big. Think about. No matter what profession you do, promotion is the only way to increase salary. Increase the quantity and quality of your work. Think. More can be done. The best way to catch up is not out of touch. There is always room for further improvement at work. No job is perfect. When you believe in, can do better, find ways to do better. Can do better sparks your creativity. Think so much that work comes first, meaning you will be the follower. In the words of Publius Cyrus, a wise man is master of his own mind, and the fool is a slave to his mind.